Hello, this is Maggie, and this is puzzler number 10, and it's just a weird one. So it's not a tuning question exactly, but it's a question about inharmonicity. There's a hint for you. So, if I tune a fifth, pure at the second coincident partial, I'm using two pianos for this question. I think that might have moved. Let's say I have two fifths tuned pure at the second coincident partial, and then I measure them at the first coincident partial. Here's the other piano again. Okay, so on one of the pianos, at the first coincident partial, the fifth measured narrow, maybe even a bit much narrow. And on this piano, the fifth measures sharp. I mean, wide. Wide. Wide at the first coincident partial. So, what does that tell you about these two notes and their relationship with each other regarding inharmonicity? I'm going to give you 5 seconds. The answer is that if you tune this pure at the second coincident partial and it measures extra narrow at the first coincident partial, it means there's greater inharmonicity in the upper note of the fifth. Because in order to bring the coincident partial of the lower note of the fifth up to meet the extra sharp coincident partial of this C, where they meet at the second coincident partial, in order to bring the lower note sharp enough to meet it, it has to pass the first coincident partial of the upper note. So the first coincident partial of this lower note is now above, quite a bit above, the coincident partial of the upper note at the first coincident partial. And that's because I had to bring the lower note up to meet the extra inharmonicity of the upper note. And the opposite can also be true. If there's more inharmonicity on the lower note of the fifth, if the inharmonicity on the lower note of the fifth is great, is much greater than the upper note, then in order to get the upper note to line up at the second coincident partial, we have to raise it a lot to get these to match, but then it raises the coincident partial from the upper note past the matching partial from the lower note, and so it will measure wide at the first coincident partial. So that explains the extreme inharmonicity issues you can run into in a piano. So if you have other answers, go ahead and share, because there's a lot more this can tell you. But I thought this was fun. So, happy tuning! Bye!